Alright, time for some more factoring. This time, it's going to get a little more complex. A little more, a little more, a little more. So factoring with coefficients other than 1. When your coefficient's 1, it's a piece of cake. So let's do this problem. So let's times these. These are the two factors. This is factor number 1, factor number 2. Let's times them and give me the product. So x times x will give you x squared. X times 7 will give you a 7x. 3 times x will give you a 3x. And 3 times 7 gives you 21. And then you can combine your like terms. So your product is x squared plus 10x plus 21. Now, this is easy because the coefficient of the square is a 1. There was no numbers in front of here. There was no like 2 and 3. If they're just 1x and 1x, that's pretty easy. So, someone super smart was playing around. Now, if you do this stuff algebraically, you find all sorts of crazy patterns. So, algebraically, it's going to be x plus any number that you want. So, let's say any number could be a. Then you're going to do x plus another number, a different number. So I'm going to choose b. So now if I do x plus a times x plus b, kind of the same thing, x times x, that gives you the x squared. But x times b is just bx. A times x is ax, and a times b is just a times b. But you don't need to write the times, you can just write ab. And it's understood that they're timesing together. And this one has no like terms. You can only add squares with squares. I can only add bx's with other bx's, ax's with other ax's, and ab's with other ab's. So let's move on to the next one. I'll show you where the algebra, the cool pattern in the algebra pops out. So if we look at the next one, okay, now they do not start with 1. This one starts with a 2, and this one starts with a 3. So if you do 2x times 3x, that gives you 6x squared. And if you do 2x times 2, that gives you 4x. Then if you do 3 times 3x, that gives you 9x. And 3 times 2, that gives you 6. And these are like terms. So your product is 6x squared plus 13x plus 6. Okay, so these are the products we're going to start to give you. We're going to start to give you products that do not start with 1. This starts with a 6. So it's a lot harder to factor down because you're not just looking at the end, what times this and gives you 6 but adds and gives you 13. Now you're looking at the front, what times this and gives you a 6x squared, 2x and 3x. Or do you put the 3x? And I mean, the order of this stuff starts to get tricky because the 2x has to go with the 3 and the 3x has to go with the 2, and thank goodness everything's positive. So anyway, hopefully you get the picture. If it does not start with 1, it's tricky, and there's a lot of ways you can arrange pieces. Now, let's do it algebraically, because algebraically a cool pattern pops out. So, algebraically, now I got a number, I got a coefficient in front of my x. So it's going to be ax plus some other number, ax plus b, times another number, cx plus d. Okay, let's try this. So ax plus b times cx plus d. If we do ax times cx, if I take this piece and times it by this piece, it's going to give me acx. Now, if I times this piece to this piece, it's gonna give me, well, I guess it's gonna give me ACX. I'm gonna have x squared, because x times x is x squared, so I forgot that. So let's do the AX times D. That's gonna be a dx. Okay, now let's times the B to the CX, and that gives me BCX. And the B to the D gives me BD. Okay, now here is the cool phenomena. And I don't know how someone spotted this, but this is crazy. If you take the number in front of the x squared and the number at the very end, if you take the first and the last, if you take this guy, which is AC, and you times it to this guy, which is BD, you get A times C times B times D, or you get A times B times C times D. Okay, now, if you take the number of the middle and you do the same thing, you take AD and you times it to this one, BC, you will get A times B times C times D. You get the same number every single time. And that's true back here. Look at this first one. So in front of here, the number in front of here is, there's not one, so it's 1. So if I take the first and I take the last and I times them together, 1 times AB, that equals AB. And if I take the middle times the middle, that is B times A, which is AB. And that will always happen. So after you distribute, you've got 4 terms, and if you take the number of the first and the number with the last and times them, it gives you the number of the middle times the number of the middle. Now that's handy. That's way useful. Here's why it's useful. So here's how to apply this phenomenon with the strategy of grouping. We're going to use grouping. Now this is for kind of yourself. Read through it. Blah blah blah. Here's the product. You've got to factor it. It gives you kind of an explanation of what they did step by step. So I'm going to explain it on this next one. Here we go. You're going to try and factor this. Now first, always see if you can shrink it down. Can you divide each of these terms by something in common? 219, there's no number they got in common, and they don't have any letters in common, so it cannot be shrunk down. So move number 1. See if you can find a GCF. There is no GCF. Number 2, is it a special case? So are these perfect squares? This one is, yeah, but this one is no, so it's not a special case. And if none of those two work, then you're just going to factor it. Now, if it does not start with a 1, here is what we are going to do. Here is the plan. I'm going to take 2x squared plus blank plus 9. I'm going to take this 3 terms and I'm going to break it up into something that has 4 terms. Okay, here's what I know. I know these 2 terms need to add up and give you 19x's. So I could be like, I don't want to do 19x and 0x. I could do like 18x and 1x, because 18x is plus 1x, that's 19. I want to turn it into this. I want four terms right here. And your middle terms, these two middle terms, so look, this is what I want. I want to turn this that has 3 terms, I'm going to go one step back. I'm going to turn it into this, and then I'm going to turn it into this. So if I give you the product, we're going to go back to this step, then we're going to go back to this step, and these are the factors. So we're going to reverse engineer this. So here we go. You're going to take the middle, 13x, and you're going to break it up into 2 pieces. Now what you know about these 2 pieces is they must add and give you 13x's. But check it out. They've got to times and give you the first times the first. 6 times 6 is going to always equal the middle times the middle, 4 times 9. 6 times 6 is 36, 4 times 9 is 36, so what you're looking for are the numbers that times and give you 36, but add and give you 13. So here we go. To find out what 2 numbers these were in the middle, we're going to take the first times the last. 2 times 9. Okay, that is 18. I know this. I know that this guy, whatever it is, times this guy, whatever it is, has got to also equal 18. So here we go. 18, you pull out your factor sheet. 18 is made of a 1 and an 18, a 2 and a 9, a 3 and a 6, and that's it. So you got 3 to choose from. You're going to choose the pair that will add and give you 19. So you're going to go with 1 and 18. And it does not matter where you put them. I can put the 18 here and the 1 here. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to go 1x plus 18x. The order does not matter. So now look what we got here. I just went backwards 1 step. So I know 2 times 9, 2 times 9 equals 18, check. 1 times 18, 1 times 18, that equals 18, check, check. And 1x plus 18x equals 19x. So now we turned this trinomial, so we turned it from having 3 pieces into having 4 pieces. Now that it's got 4 pieces, group it. So take that group right there, 2x squared plus 1x, shrink it down. I'm going to divide out of both those terms. I'm going to divide an x out, so it's going to be x times 2x plus 1. And the next group, this group right here, 18x plus 9, I'm dividing out of that a 9. So it will be 9 times 2x plus 1. And here are my 2 groups. Both of my groups have a 2x plus 1. So I'm going to factor out of those 2 groups 2x plus 1. And my final answer is 2x plus 1 times the leftovers. So times x plus 9. And those are the factors that give me this product. Okay, let's try another one. And let's try 5a cubed plus 34a squared plus 24a. Move number 1. Shrink it down. See if you can shrink it down. And 5 is not going to go into 34 or 24, so the numbers are put. But let's take a letter out of each. Take an a. So move number 1. I'm going to go clear over here. We're going to go a times 5a squared plus 34a plus 24. Okay. Move number 2. This is not a square root, and that is not a square root, and this does not start with 1, so I'm going to go 5a squared. I'm going to turn this trinomial. I'm going to bust up the middle into 2 pieces, plus blank plus 24. So here's what I'm looking for. 2 pieces have got to add and give me 34. So I'm going to do 5 times 24. Okay, that's kind of a big number. That's yeesh, that's 120. That is a big number. Okay, 5 times 24. That is 120. So here we go. You're looking for two things that times to give you 120, but they gotta add and give you 34. So 120. If you make a list, I mean, there's all sorts of them. 120. 1 times 120. 2 times 60. 3 times 40. Okay, and that's as far as you gotta go, because I can make a 30. Oh, no, I gotta make a 34. Those two make a 43. So I guess it's not those two. Gotta keep going. 4 times 30. Those are the two I want right there. Because 4 times 30 will give me 120, but I can make a 34. So if I go like the 4a here, and the 30a there, so it wasn't too bad. I didn't have to go too far. 4 times 30 is also 120, and 4 plus 30 is 34. So those are it. That's it. We are in business now. We've got 4 terms, so let's use grouping. So grouping, I'm gonna group these guys together, 5a squared and 4a, and out of those I can divide out just an a, so it's going to be a times 5a plus 4, and out of this group I can take 30a and 24. I can take 6 out of both, so it's going to be 6 times 5a plus 4, and look what we got here. We are in business. These two, I can take a 5a plus 4 out of each, 5a plus 4. So, if I take a 5a plus 4 out, times it by the leftovers, a plus 6. And then, you must put a. Because the first thing you did was take a out, so the last thing you gotta do is put a back in. So that's your answer. Okay, one more. Let's do 42n³ plus 132n² plus 96. Okay, that looks pretty big, so try and shrink it down. I know you can take an n out of each term. 42, they're all even, so I can cut them in half, but you want to go as much as you can. So 42, start playing around. 42, you can divide by 6. So now you must wonder, 132, can you divide that by 6? Yes. 96, can you divide that by 6? Yes. So look, if I take a 6 out with the n, try this. 6n times, that is 7n squared, plus the 132 divided by 6, that's 22n, and the 96 divided by 6 is 16. Okay, now ask yourself if you can keep going, because maybe I didn't. Maybe 6 is not the greatest. Maybe you can pull more out. 7, 22, and 16. Okay, 7's prime, and 7's not going to go into these, so that's it. So here we go. That is not a perfect square. That is a perfect square, but they both have to be, so that's not a special case. And this does not start with 1. So I'm going to go 6n times 7n squared. You're going to break this middle, the 22, break it into 2 pieces. So we're going to go plus something, plus 16. Okay, now to figure out what those 2 pieces are that add to give you 22, they've got to times and give you 7. Man, this is another big number. 7 times 16. 7 times 16. 112. Okay. So this is good. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 112. We're going to make a list. Because your factor list only goes to 100, I think. And I think on your homework, these numbers are not going to be as big. So 112, you got to make your own list. It's always 1 and 112. It's 2. So you just get a calculator, get your phone. 112 divided by 2. 2 and 56. Try 3. 1, 112 divided by 3. No. 1, 112 divided by 4. Okay, 4 and 28. We're getting close. You gotta make a 22. 4 and 28 makes 24 or 32. Okay, so keep going. I'm not gonna divide by 5. 112 divided by 6. 6 does not work. 7 works. 7 and 16. Ooh. That's close. 7 and 16 makes it 23. Alright, let's keep going. 112 divided by 8. 8 and 14. And that's it. 8 and 14, you can make it 22. So, if I put 8 in there and 14 in there, 8 times 14 also gives you 112. That's the magic number. And they add and give you 22. So that's it. So that one was a little tedious because you had to list your own factors. But it's doable. So here we go. 4 terms, now use grouping. 7n squared 8n, divide both by n. So it's going to be n times 7n plus 8. And group 2, what do they got in common? Group 2 I can take out of each just 2. So it's going to be 2 times 7n plus 8. So your final answer, whoops, 6n is going to be this. 6n times 7n plus 8 times n plus 2. And that is it. Last one, try this one on your own. So hit pause, try it on your own, see how far you can get. Then when you're done, hit play, see if your answer matches up. Here we go, 18, 18, 80. I can shrink this down. I can divide, I wonder, 80, what can you divide? If you cut them in half, that's a 9, 9, 40. Is that all you can do is cut them in half? So if I cut them in half, it's going to be 9v squared plus 9v minus 40. 9, 9, and 40, that's as far as it goes. Oh, geez, man, this one's kind of a nasty one too. So that's a perfect square, but that's not, so it's not a special case. So here we go. 2 times 9v squared plus blank minus 40. So find the magic number times the first and the last. 9 times a minus 40 equals a minus 360. Okay. So these must times and give you also a minus 360. So 360, eesh. 360. If you start making a list of the factors of 360, we're trying to find the one that's going to add and give you 9. 1 and 360. 2 and 180. 3 and 130. 360 has a ton of factors. 4 and 90. 360 divided by 5. 5 and 72. 6 and 60. 360. 8 and 45. None of these are even going to give me close to 9. Ugh. 360 divided by 9. 9 and 40. 360 divided by 10. 10 and 36. Whoops. 360 divided by 12. 12 and 30. 360. 15 and 24. And I think that's it. 24 minus 15, is that 9? 24. Holy crap. Okay, that's it. It's 15 and 24. So, here we go. It's got to be a positive 9. So is it 15 minus 24? Or is it 24 minus 15? It's going to be 24 minus 15. 24v minus 15v. There we go. So 24 times a minus 15 equals a minus 360. And 24 minus 15 equals a positive 9. So those two are the ones. Here we go. So now we're going to use some grouping. I'm going to rearrange them actually. I'm going to group the 9v squared with the minus 15v. And then I'm going to group the 24v with the minus 40. Because then my signs go plus, minus, plus, minus. So here we go. 24v minus 40, I'm going to divide them both by... What can I divide both by? 4? If I do 4, let's see what 4... No, bigger than 4. We got to go 8. If I divide by 8, 8 will be 3v minus 5. Okay, now this group, if I divide them both by 3v, it will be 3v times 3v minus 5. Sweet, so both groups have a 3v minus 5. So my final answer is 3v minus 5 times 3v plus 8. Those are the two factors that will give you this as a product. But you're going to have to double them. You're going to have to times it by 2. Because the first thing we did was divide them all by 2. So 3v minus 5, 3v plus 8 times 2. Those are your three factors that will give you that. And that's it. So try it on your own. Do the worksheet. Answer on the back. Check them as you go. Do good.